Hi, welcome to YoMathStudy. I'm Johan. Welcome to the channel. I have to make sure that you guys hit the subscribe button and make sure that you follow up with everything that's going on here. What is math? It's a really important question. In order for us to learn what math is, I like to first start telling people what math is not. At least two things. What I often hear is that math is a universal language. That's not true. Math is a universal language insofar as language is what you need in order to communicate anywhere in the universe. And I think that a lot of times we talk about math being the language of the universe, but we forget that there's many different kinds of math. The math that we learn today, especially in school, is not the only kind of math that has ever existed in the world. In fact, most of the math that we are learning is a culmination of practices from around the world to get us to where we are right now. So that's what I first tell people. Math is not the universal language. There's many different kinds, and there's lots of different ways of thinking about math. Second, people think of math as a transactional process. I do this, I get an answer. I put this in, I get something. And I think a lot of that thinking really connects to calculators and computers. If I want to figure something out, put it in here, spit out an answer. Input, output. Math is not that though, because in between the input and the output is a process. And the process is what math actually is. Math is a set of processes that we do to arrive to an answer or a conclusion. And those processes you see right here behind me: add, subtract, multiply, and divide. There's really not any other process that you're doing in between there. We could talk about theory and a lot of these things, but if you know how to do these four things, then you know how to do math. These are the processes that are important in math, no matter what level of math you're doing. Math is an instrument. A lot of times people talk about math being related to music, and that's true insofar as when you're doing music, you're counting, you're doing certain kinds of things like that, but it's the creative process of music is not very different from math either. But the thing that I tell people of why music and math are most related, and I can say this as a musician, is that math is an instrument. Now, when you think of an instrument, you might think of a piano, violin, but a scalpel is an instrument. A saw is an instrument. A camera is an instrument. A calculator is an instrument. A ruler is an instrument. So all of these things that we use, we may use them in different ways for different purposes. I'm not going to use the ruler for the same reason that I won't use a scale the same way, but they're both instruments. A guitar as an instrument is something that, brings about a sound, it brings about a melody, and it fits well in a band. Math is an instrument because it helps us measure things and it helps us answer certain problems in a certain way. We measure it out that way. We take the things that we know and put it through a process. That's really what math is. It's not just about putting stuff together and letting you get an answer, because at that point it's just cold and it has no involvement with you. And that's why a lot of people separate from even wanting to do it. So hopefully that gives you a good understanding of at least my philosophy on what math is and what it is not. And once we understand that, I think you'll also see how I arrived to that conclusion has a lot to do with how I got a lot better at math. I was not good at math growing up, but I'll tell you that story in the next video. So stay tuned on that.